we solved our technical problems and Daniel Viviroli is ready to start. Daniel, it's your time.
Thank you very much. Yes, that was my presentation. So it's my great pleasure to be here and to speak. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We already heard about the water towers of the world, the water towers of Europe, and I would like to pick up that topic and elaborate a bit on how populations in the lowlands depend on those mountain water resources and how this dependence changes over time with climate change and global change. Okay. So yeah, the water towers, this concept is quite old these days. Mountains gather water, has a orographic effect, and they redistribute it in time due to snow melt and ice melt. So I would not like to go deeper into this, but really change perspective to the lowlands and look upstream actually. And with the data and the models that we have available today, we can really look into more detailed detection of water resources. And this is just an example of recent research of spatial patterns that we identified. This is a global map at 5 arc-minutes resolution, it's about 1 kilometers, and it shows patterns for mid-century under the middle of the road scenario. This is the 2R66. And the colors here that you see on the bottom left, I got there easily intuitive. The yellowish, orange, red colors essentially mean that the lowlands depend on mountain water resources, that the lowlands have a water deficit, and they get contributions from mountains that are essential. And then also interestingly, it's the green one, and there is no deficit in the lowlands, the water deficit, but still mountains provide considerable amounts of water that can be important seasonal, for instance. And there's an additional layer in this color coding. You see that it's partly black and then the colors get saturated. That just shows an additional population density. So the fully saturated colors mean that there's a high population density that we should really care about the results, whereas the dark colors are regions where population density is quite low. So if we briefly go through those two maps, and it's only 2 excerpts, there are other important regions as well, but I would like to show these regions here. If we start from the right, high mountain Asia is quite an obvious hotspot. We already heard a lot about this in the session. All around high mountain Asia, we have large dependence and high population density. That's really not surprising, but if we move further to the west, we see further catchments that also show this high dependence. For instance, Mesopotamia, the Tigris River, the Nile River, also West Africa, the Niger River, and parts of Europe, even in Poland and the Danube River. And then if we go over to the western US, we also see a quite high dependence in the regions around the Rocky Mountains, the Central Valley, the Sahara Desert, the Great Plains. And this extends further north and further south to the Pacific coast. And now for the development of this over time, I also promised you this. This is a graph that just shows those dependencies, how they develop. The scenario here is the same as before, it's the middle of the road scenario. And I just summarize here the colors that mean essential dependence of the lower populations. And this number of people that essentially depend on mountain in our assessment rises from around 0.6 billion in the 60s to 2.5 billion projected by mid-century. That's quite a steep rise, and also in terms of relative shares, the relative share of lower people depending on mountain water resources rises from 33% to almost 40% here in this scenario. And we have to bear in mind that this is a global picture, so it lumps together all climate zones, and we have to bear in mind that really in drier climate zones, this dependence is even much higher, especially in semi-arid climates. Now, if we go back to this map here, and water resources, in connection with water resources, we should remind ourselves, of course, that around 70% of the water consumption worldwide is due to agriculture, irrigated agriculture, and thus we should really have a look at that as well. This, what is shown here on this map on the bottom, the colors in the background are the same now, just the saturation of the core, does not encode for population density, but here it shows areas that are equipped for irrigation. So the fully saturated cores show lowland areas that have widespread, extensive irrigation. And comparing those two maps is quite interesting. I think if we start again from high mountain Asia, we see that all around it's both in terms of population and irrigation, so hotspots. So there the picture is quite congruent, and the same goes for the Middle East, Mesopotamia, and Nile. Whereas for Western Africa, the Nile irrigation does not seem that important. It doesn't mean that it's totally unimportant, because there's probably a large share of small irrigations that are not recorded or illegal that can still be important, but it doesn't show up that much in this typology here. And then if we go over to the Western US, we see that in the Great Plains, to the east of the Rockies, this seems to be even more an irrigation hotspot and a population hotspot, and to the west in the Central Valley and the Sonoran Desert, irrigation is about the same order of magnitude as population density if we consider this sort of hotspot. We can have a look at a bit more detailed summary look at the irrigation here. This is the global picture, so the pies here, they show the irrigated lowland areas in the 1960s, 2000s, and the 2040s. And we can, in the first step, determine how much of that area depends on water resources. That's the pink share of the pie. And then in addition, we can also determine what lowland areas that are irrigated make unsustainable use of their local water resources. That essentially means that they over-abstract their groundwater resources, so that if they depend on inputs, they do depend on them even more strongly, because their local resources, they are overusing them. And if you look at the scenario on the right for the 2040s here, with the middle of the road scenario again, we see that by mid-century, more than 50% of the lowland areas for irrigation will both be using their local water sustainably and depend on mountain water resources. So really critically depend on mountain water resources. Now, finally, what is responsible for the developments that we see? Is it runoff? Is it water consumption? Is it the mountains? Is it the lowlands? And we did look a bit into the drivers. And here, first of all, we see the breakdown of runoff. That's the cable averages from the 60s to the mid-century projections. And you see that nothing really much changes. There are no clear trends in decadal runoff. And here is per capita water consumption that every one of you consumes, including irrigation in the food that we consume. And also here we see that there's not a really clear explanation for plants. We see, if anything, per capita water consumption is slightly decreasing since the 60s, since worldwide we're getting a little bit more efficient in using water. But what is the real explanation for the patterns here in this research that I showed you is population growth. So even if we use less water per capita, if everyone of us uses less water, we are more people, and together total water consumption is clearly rising, both in the mountains and especially also very steeply in the lowlands. So that's really the explanation here for the patterns that we saw. So that's the summary here of those graphs. I should put two points of caution here. The first one is we did not yet include here changes in the seasonality that might occur in climate change. So it's normal changes, and it occurs earlier in the year, as the events showed for the morning. And that is something that is quite heavily affecting mountain water resources. And this is not shown here yet. We're working on that. And I expect that if we resolve this, if we more closely look into this, we will see a more clear signal of climate change. That climate change is also important with respect to the seasonality. And then the second word of caution I have to put for glaciers. We can here not yet very realistically depict the changes in glacial runoff. Also, this is a work in progress, and there also changes can be highly relevant. This has to be a bit differentiated by area. Usually, if you get far away from the glacier, for instance, in the Rhine, the glaciers become quite quickly not so important for water resources, but there are very important exceptions. The two most extended ones are probably the tropical Andes and the upper Indus River basin. So this brings me to my key messages. I hope I was to show you a bit in more quantitative terms how lowlands benefit or even depend on runoff on water resources. And 3 points, maybe the first one is most important, the context of this gathering here. Climate action is really imperative from the viewpoint of mountains, because mountains, they experience enhanced warming as compared to the rest of the land surface, and if we want to prevent further changes in the seasonality, as we already saw it in the run of seasonality, climate action is really imperative. Then, quite generic, but also very important, sustainable development in mountain regions. This is important if we want to safeguard the quality of mountain runoff. And then finally, with regard to management of water sources and the cooperation between river basins, I picture this term hydrosolidarity. This was coined by Alan Falkenmark in the late 1990s, and it means a concept that within a river basin, all activities that relate to land and water ecosystems, they should be orchestrated holistically, in an ethically sound manner, in an equitable manner. And I think this also applies especially to lowland populations and mountain populations. So I think they should try to better connect within the river basin to work on water resource issues. And this can also be a quite powerful tool to avoid conflicts. So with that, two references to research where you can find that. We also have the data of the latest paper online. You can download that and my contact information. I'll be happy to discuss later on. Thank you very much.